Someone's going to semifinals Saturday here in Sussex County, Delaware. The Latin American representatives from Brazil, Czechia representing the Europe-Africa region. It is the second quarterfinal of the Senior League Softball World Series. We had a run rule victory in our first quarterfinal today, and one of the best pitching performances we have seen in the tournament. Philippines moving past Canada 10-0. They'll take on the defending champions Michigan or Pennsylvania tomorrow. Whoever wins this gets Delaware, the host team, or Hawaii. As we welcome you high atop Layton Field alongside the former Tennessee Volunteer Riley West, my name is Joel Godet. There are two unbeaten teams in this field, the defending champions from Michigan and Delaware, but Brazil maybe is the team that has the best shot at knocking them off, no?
Yeah, they've had some really close games, and I think that will prepare them for this elimination round of being able to fight out maybe some of the adversity, but they've got to take care of business first, and it starts with Czechia.
Czechia advancing to the bracket by virtue of their win over Canada last night. Did a really good job to bounce back after they had been run ruled in the matchup prior to that. This Brazil team, though, has been really good. Their offense, dynamite, and even in their losses, it's been close.
Yeah, the triple yesterday by Takahama kind of just unleashed the bats of Brazil. Both Czechia and Brazil bats lit up. And definitely how you want to feel as an offense coming in today's elimination game.
Their victories 16-1 and 14-2. They lost to the host Delaware 6-5 and then lost to the Philippines, but gave a lead up late. They do have righties in Brazil, I promise. That is the most lefty-laden lineup we have seen in this tournament. They'll go up against Lucy Halamkova. They've got a couple really good pitchers for Czechia. Yesterday we saw their number one, Nina Sveshkova, but she threw 123 pitches in the win over Canada. So it's Halamkova that gets the call in the elimination game.
And a little bit different. Not as much of a strikeout pitcher, more of a miss-hit type pitcher. Change-up, rise ball, an off-speed version. Can tunnel the drop and change, and also has a screw. So a full arsenal of pitches, and uses her defense behind her.
Strike to get us going to Mariana Sonoda, one of the best hitters in this tournament. 7 hits, ranks second, batting .438 with 5 knocked in. And a lot of her damage has been extra bases. Nothing in 2. Working the zone a little bit, trying to stretch things outside early.
Yeah, that was definitely a ball off the plate. And if pitchers can get that, as a former catcher, I always told my pitchers, stay there. Force the batter to have to swing at it and roll a ground ball.
Trying to change things upstairs, a ball and 2 strikes. Halamkova has pitched in this tournament, 8 innings so far, to the tune of a .9 ERA and a 0.21 batting average against. 1-2. Just didn't quite look right coming out of her windup. Live to see another pitch, 2-2. You talk about being a former catcher. How do you go about establishing your pitcher, getting them comfortable, getting them set up early?
Yeah, the first 1 to 3, 1 to 4 innings, you're really trying to figure out your relationship with the umpire. A lot has to do with you. You're the closest one to him or her. And so you're communicating constantly. You're also pretty friendly. If you have a good relationship with the umpire, then things might sometimes swing your way. They're humans too.
Two. And the count runs full. Pitch number 7 of our opening plate appearance coming up. If nothing else, Riley been really impressed by the first at-bats that a lot of teams have had this week.
Yeah, the leadoff batters have done a really great job being the catalyst for their offenses, getting on base anyway, and if not, seeing a ton of pitches.
Fouled away.
And Joel, we talked about one of the statistics that they are kind of counting throughout the tournament is quality at-bats. We talked about it last game, and that's seeing, it's a bunch of things, but seeing more than 6 pitches, seeing more than 3 pitches after 2 strikes, hitting the ball hard. Leadoff batters have had a ton of quality at bats in this tournament.
This is pitch 8. And it leads to ball 4. So Sonoda is on. And now Hafayea Nakamura, center fielder who has taken advantage of Sonoda's getting on base this tournament. 4 RBI out of the 2-hole. That's in 4 games. Los Angeles Dodgers is an easy team to have as a favorite nowadays.
Definitely my favorite, but hey, I'm from California, about 45 minutes outside of LA, so I can say that with a lot of confidence.
A lot of Japanese influence though on this Brazilian team. A lot of Yoshinobu Yamamoto favorites, Shohei Ohtani favorites for players. Ball and a strike. Brazil actually has the second largest Japanese population outside of Japan. And most of that Japanese population lives in Sao Paulo, which is where this team comes from. Swinging away. Runner stays put, but Sonoda dancing a little bit. We have seen catchers be very aggressive, especially behind runners this tournament.
Yeah, I love the aggression behind the plate. It keeps runners closer to their bag, and so in turn, when a ball is put in play, if they are behind their usual leadoff, maybe 1 or 2 steps, that's the difference between making a play on a force out for your defense. So catchers just keeping the runners honest. And I love it. I love the aggression behind the plate. We've also seen runners be aggressive right back. So after the throw behind them, taking an extra bag. So catchers have to be really smart on when they're throwing it down to pick runners off.
A lot of work for Halamkova here in the first. 2-2. We will do it again. 8 pitches to the opening batter. This is number 6 to Nakamura.
That's already 2 quality at-bats for Brazil, something I will keep track of in this game.
Looped into center, but it hung up. Kotezova makes the catch. That looked like it was going to be really good, and then it caught a little Gulf Stream.
And I think that's because Halamkova, the pitcher, was able to use an off-speed, so batter Nakamura looked like she was on time, went towards the ball, and because it was off speed, she was just a little bit out in front, so caught the end of her bat versus the barrel. And so Halamkova has her fast, as well as a change, but her coach has also told us she has an off speed. So 3 different speeds that batters have to worry about.
Nagasawa, I don't know if there was some sort of aggressive offensive play put on there, but that seemed like a I need to get my bat on the ball situation.
It seemed like a hit and run from the batter's perspective, where you're swinging no matter what, trying to hit a ground ball. But based on the runner, Sonoda, there at first, it might have been a ground ball go, but on a ground ball, you have to go either way at first. So I'm not sure. Looked kind of like a hit and run to me.
Try to get her to chase again.
And also, Joel, there's times where the batter gets the sign and the runner doesn't, so it also could have been a little combination of that.
Small chance Nagasawa just really liked an outside pitch. Popped up on the infield. And Yadelska squares it away. 2 down for Karen Takahama, who we saw in that opening highlight package. The only player in this field with more than 1 triple. She has 2. But she has been the queen of the quality at bat that you keep talking about. 4 categories, number of pitches you see, more than 6. Do you produce an effective out, move the runners? Do you reach, or do you take 3 pitches with 2 strikes?
And by take, you mean not actually taking.
Fair. Throw down to second is in time. So it turns into a 1-2-3 first inning, and Takahama will have a chance at a quality at bat the next time through.
Johanna Slavikova behind the plate. It's been aggressive all day, and then the runner finally goes, put a hard tag on. See if Czechia can bring that momentum into their at-bats.
Show of respect for the Brazilian team as they take the field for the first time today. Home half of the first inning. They will go up against the red-hot bats from Czechia. Put up 10 runs yesterday in a win over Canada.
Yeah, and look at this swing by number 15, Slavikova. She knew it off the bat. It was an offensive explosion for Czechia last night. We kind of mentioned that for Brazil coming into this game. So kind of the same scenario for both of them. Had losses, then bounced back with an offensive explosion. So kind of exactly where they want to be going into elimination.
Johanna Slavikova earns herself another start behind the plate in the cleanup spot. The most important thing to note about the home run, it came after about a 10 to 15 minute delay because of an umpire suffering a heat issue. The first pitch deposits over the left field fence. No wasting time, no wasting energy, just give me this one. And from that point forward, Czechia had the thing in the bag.
Yeah, Czechia was really loose dancing during that delay, and I think that translated right into the at-bats for them.
They will face the ace for Brazil, Joana de Brito Silva. Been really good in this tournament. Opponents hitting just 180 off of her. A 170 ERA and 8 innings of work, 6 strikeouts. Her best performance came in a start against the Southwest team. That was a victory for Brazil to open up the tournament.
And her coaches simply put as talented pitcher. She has a fastball, a changeup, and a drop ball. And so for a home running team or a team that started to heat their bats up like Czechia, it's important she stays down in the zone with that drop ball and inducing a lot of ground balls. And we know her defense behind her can play.
Fernando Oda to the Gatorade. Might be fruit punch. Could be lemon lime. Claudia Shabilova. And it's a ball and no strikes to start things off. The left fielder for Czechia was 3 for 4 against Canada yesterday. Scored twice, drove in a run, played a Sonata. Was her best game of the tournament. Seems like it's taken a batter or two for pitchers to get settled in. Even dating back to the first quarterfinal game today between Canada and the Philippines. There's a strike. But from that point forward, we saw a walk in the first plate appearance for Erica May Gonzalez, and then she struck out 12.
Yeah, we talked about it in the previous game that sometimes pitchers play with fire a little bit, and then it helps them narrow their focus even more. As a former catcher, sometimes I thought they did it on purpose because they liked the pressure mounting. But others would say when you're in a pressure situation like that bases loaded you referred to, you just gotta work a little bit harder and focus a little more.
It's a foul bunt that almost cleared the infield. If that wants to tell you how hard Santos is throwing. 2-2 from the voice of our home plate umpire, Brett Joyner. Working with a 4-person crew, volunteers here across the Little League levels. And strike 3 called by Joyner on the outside corner. Out number 1 for Joanna de Brito Silva.
Silva's not taking a batter to lock in. She went right at the first one. Look at this screwball. Some good spin tailing away from the batter. And then a good frame by Diaz behind the plate. That ball was coming in, maybe half a ball off. Pretty borderline, but that frame, I think, really convinced the home plate umpire that it was a strike.
Anna Friedlova falls behind 0-1. The 16-year-old may or may not have seen the Odyssey. Zendaya is in it. Ball and a strike. Talk about the screwball for JoJo Da Silva. Not a pitch we've seen in every game of this tournament. What's unique about it? What's different? What's hard to hit?
Yeah, for a right-handed pitcher throwing a screwball, that means it's going to tail into a right-handed batter. In that case, previous batter, Shapova, was lefty, so it tailed away. Right-handed batters predominantly go with a curveball, so coming across their body, going away to right-handed batters, so it is a unique pitch. I'm not sure if Silva was trying to throw a screwball because she mainly has drop and change, but sometimes pitchers get that arm side run just because of their release.
Inside corner to make it 2-2. Czechia batters patient early, but Silva's been all over the plate. Two. On the ground to second. Matsumoto on to first. There are 2 Matsumotos on the infield, one at second and one at third.
That was a decently hit ball, but good defense. The drop ball pitcher defense behind you has to be clutch, or shouldn't say clutch, I should say field the routine plays and then get a few more. That might be those borderline plays that could also go as hits.
Liner back up the middle for Yadelska. And with 2 outs, something to work with here for Czechia. Brings up Slavakova, who we talked about as the home run hitter yesterday. You mentioned ground balls, though. You look at the statistics for the tournament. Takahama over at first base is second in putouts, which means a lot of people are throwing to first base, which means a lot of balls are on the ground, which, as long as you're shorthanded defensively, can be a really good thing.
Yeah, when I hear that, that makes me think that they're playing good defense behind their pitchers. We've seen strikeout pitchers throughout the tournament, and we've also seen quite a bit of errors. And when you have a strikeout pitcher, you're not necessarily expecting the ball as much as a drop ball pitcher. And so your defense sometimes can be better even though they get more opportunities with the drop ball pitcher just because you're more on your toes constantly. So no surprise that Brazil has had a fairly good tournament during pool play, and they're having the second most putouts there at first.
De Brito Silva ahead, 0-2. Fouled away. I have to imagine it also plays to your advantage just being something different. We've seen a lot of rise balls throughout this tournament, and then you run into this Latin America team, and it's not that.
Yeah, Czechia's offensive explosion came yesterday against Canada, and they have 2 rise ball pitchers, and so a different adjustment.
On the screws, into the alley, that's down and to the fence for Slavakova. Keeps the power going. Stop sign for Yadelska. And Czechia will play conservative first inning of an elimination game.
And after we saw the Philippines in game 1 of this quarterfinal take those extra bases, you almost think Czechia should have challenged Brazil's defense, but nonetheless, a great swing by Slavakova, just picking up where she left off last night.
Jitka Harova is the third base coach and manager. You don't want to be the person who runs through Skip's stop sign and ends the first inning at home.
But then you can also be the person that ran through stop sign, scored the first run, and the whole team is jumping up and down because you didn't listen to coach, but you made it happen.
Mackie Shvekova now. First pitch for the DP.
And by that, I'm not encouraging younger players at home who are watching to not listen to their coach. Listen to your coach. All coaches tend to make mistakes or have an inkling to if a team is going to make that play. And Yitka Hurova had a better view at that play at the end of the day than the base runner, so that's why she held her up. She saw that relay coming in.
Pitch missing away. Shvekova's favorite musician, I should say, Oasis. It's a good throwback for the teenagers. Wonderwall? The 1-1. Ball and 2 strikes. Second and third. Big spot here in the first inning for Czechia. De Brito Silva. Ground ball foul. Real kind of, I don't want to say calm and composed, but almost melancholy demeanor. Just like, we're here. I got this.
Yeah, this game definitely has a different vibe than our first quarterfinal. The Philippines from the very first pitch were loud, aggressive. This feels like one of those games that's going to pick up intensity as each inning goes by.
Swing and a miss. They'll tag her out. Today is not going to be the day, and they do not have to throw it back to first. Couple of strikeouts here in the first inning. 2 hits, no dice for Czechia. Back here in Frankfort, Delaware. The slower lower, they call it. Bottom half of Delaware. The Delmarva Peninsula. We'll go down south to Maryland and Ocean City, where Michael Jordan is fishing for marlin right now.
Is he actually on the boat, or is it just his boat?
I know the answer to that. Yeah.
Michael Jordan on a boat doesn't really sound right to me.
It's he, Andy Samberg, and T-Pain. They're all together. Karen Takahama back at the plate to lead off the second. Was at the dish when Sonoda was caught stealing to end the first. Czechia had a brilliant opportunity in the bottom of the first inning. Left runners at second and third. So Latin America trying to ride that defensive momentum. Heart of the order due up. And the count 1-1. Riley, such a great lesson, especially for teenage softball players, in timely hitting. I feel like game and again in this tournament, what it takes to get the right hit in the right situation.
Yeah, winning championships is all about starting with pitching, then defense, and then clutch hitting. So not just hitting overall, but clutch hitting. I've been in a ton of ball games where there's maybe 1 or 2 hits for the winning team, but those 1 or 2 hits and those pitching duels have come just at the right time. So specifically in this elimination play, it's not necessarily that you're getting people on base every time, it's the clutch hitting when people are on base.
Couple of balls and a couple of strikes. Takahama is 3rd in the tournament field in quality at bats. She's had 11 of them so far. Is that a mental thing? Do you go up there with a different approach if you're Czechia in the last half inning, 2 outs, scoring position?
I think because the score is still 0-0, still early in the game, haven't really changed your thought process.
2-2's cut through. So Takahama is retired. And the first strikeout for Hamlikova brings up Eduarda Hasegawa. Just as good of a hitter, 600 on the week. That is 4th in the tournament for batting average. She has a Boston Terrier named Sky. Fouls it away, which I don't know this for a fact. It's the only one that registered with me. It was the only survey we got from an athlete that referenced their dog, which I feel like you lead with that information.
A lot of people do. But, you know, softball's what's on their mind first. They're not thinking about their pets right now.
Certainly watching back home in Sao Paulo. Whether Sky knows what it's looking at on the TV or not.
I've been really watching where the feet of the Brazilian batters are, and they're all towing the line. A lot of lefties, but they have slowly wiped away that line closest to home plate, so it's kind of non-existent, and they're also toes on it. Sometimes their toes are over it. So paying attention if that changes, maybe if Czechia ends up changing a pitcher, or is that their natural place of where they're standing? Might be a game plan, pitcher specific.
Ball and 2 strikes from Hamlikova. In play. Left center field and tailing away. Drops down behind Shabilova. Heading toward 3rd for the triple. Overslid the bag. Out number 2. Good stick-to-itiveness defensively for Czechia. Bases are empty with 2 down.
And that was next play mentality by both the batter, but then for Czechia, defensively, a good swing by Hagasawa, the good running going to 3rd, the slide went to the outside of the bag, and then the fingers just slid off the bag. The relay was executed perfectly. Maybe not the best read to start by Privova in left field, but the backup relaying it in. That could have been a dangerous situation with the runner on 3rd in this inning, less than 2.
Do you start your slide earlier to not overslide the bag in that situation?
You can, but I honestly think she didn't have to do the slide around the bag per se and trying to grab. I think she would have beat the ball there, so she could have really slid right into it. I think she was just trying to be extra safe, extra careful that she was safe, not make it as much of a bang-bang play. But also a good job by the 3rd baseman, Fridolova, to stick with it, watch the slide, and continue to have her glove follow the fingers of the base runner. That's a momentum killer for Brazil. And props to Czechia's defense on just sticking with that play.
Carolina Gias hitting 154 for the week, but has knocked in 4. And there was bullpen action getting going for Czechia that has now come back into the dugout. One, two. Grounder. Right back to her. Hamlakova couldn't get to it. Friedlova was late hustling over. And that'll turn into another base runner for the Latin American team.
And you have to think that hard hit after the triple, Brazil could be on the board if the slide is a little bit different. But Brazil doing a good job of hitting the ball hard. Anytime you hit the ball hard, good things continue to happen. Might not always get through, but it always challenges the defense.
Now Caroline Matsumoto. Ball and no strikes. Portuguese is the native language of Brazil. Trilingual. Look how close Matsumoto is standing though too. Pitch misses down and away. What's this do to Hamlakova when that inside corner is maybe less comfortable to throw to?
Yeah, I think Brazil's doing this to force Hamlakova to go outside. They were basically saying, I want the ball outside. If Hamlakova with her speed throws in, it's going to be really hard for them to turn the ball to the right side. And based on where their feet are in the box, their elbows sometimes are over the line. So Hamlakova could try and challenge them in, but then she risks hitting their elbows, which if they're over the line and the umpire sees it, then it could be reversed. But if the umpire doesn't see it, risk of putting someone on by a hit by pitch.
2-2. Strikeout double. Hasegawa thrown out trying to make that a triple. Single for Gias. And now 2-2 to Matsumoto. Outfield shifted the other way. Huge gap in right center field. Count full.
I think that gap comes from where Brazil is in the box because they're towing the line, so kind of forcing Hamlakova to pitch outside, so it's going to be left field, maybe left center gap. Then the right fielder kind of playing more normal because let's just say Hamlakova pulls the changeup out and they pull it, you still have to have someone in right, but leaving that gap of right center open because the chances of hitting a hard ball in that gap when you're predominantly throwing outside to lefties is pretty slim.
Second walk issued. Brings up Naomi Matsumoto, who is an awesome weapon to have at the bottom of your order. 6 hits, 4 RBI. She's been one of the best offensive players consistently for Brazil in this tournament. The 15-year-old high school freshman made the last out in the field of the regional to help get Brazil here, advancing to this stage of the tournament for the first time in history. Puerto Rico has traditionally been the queens of the Latin American region, has 3 times won this whole tournament. Low strike, 1-1.
One of my favorite fun facts with Naomi Matsumoto, she put that her father played in the World Series against Derek Jeter.
Swings through. Nobody else specifically, just...
That was all she put. She left us with very little, but still a very fun fact. But basically what I'm saying is it runs in the family's
100%.
blood that they play on the big stages.
Cut through and down on strikes to end the inning. Still nothing doing offensively as we go bottom 2. LatAm and Europe.
Hamlakova using the down part of the zone so well. Good wiggle on the drop. Now let's see if Czechia can put a run on the board.
6 base runners in an inning and a half, no runs. As we move on in the quarterfinals of the Senior League Softball World Series. Riley, Brazil, though, has been a good or bad, things happen late in games team. They came from behind, almost beat the host team Delaware in the 6th and 7th innings of that game. They were doing really well against the Philippines, gave up 7 runs in the 6th inning, lose that game 8-3, but then offensively have had a couple of games where they've had their own outbursts in the 5th, 6th, and 7th innings.
Yeah, so it just kind of tells me that the team has fight in them, whether they're coming back or keeping themselves in a ball game. And when you get later in a tournament, when you're going to have more pitchers duels, like it kind of feels like one is brewing upon us, it really matters towards the later innings, the quality at bats you have in the lockdown defense.
Chopper by Kutezova. And an easy 1-3 for out number 1 in the 2nd. Czechia had runners at 2nd and 3rd in the 1st inning, unable to score against Santos. And as long as this game remains tied, it's going to be one of those decisions that Jitka Hrova might think about in the back of her mind, saying, should I have sent Jedelska on the double from Slavakova? Maybe it's a moot point.
I originally said I thought that she should go and try and challenge. If it works out for you as a coach, it looks really good that you challenge the defense. And then if you don't, making that out at home in the early parts of a game when you potentially could get something going. So it's tough to be a coach at all levels, have to make those tough decisions.
Anna Ringlerova hitting .286 for the week. Behind 0-2, Teresa Vimrova is next, and then if anybody reaches, Joanna Barankova gets us to the bottom of the order for Czechia. Joanna de Brito Silva, fairly rested. 8 innings of work. Most of that came on the first day of the tournament. On the ground, up the middle, and another base hit. That's the 3rd for the Czech.
And I've liked how Czech has left some of Silva's low pitches, her drop ball, which is one of her best pitches, alone, and waited for her to bring it up. Yeah, there's been a few ground balls, a few strikeouts, but they have really attacked when that ball is above the knee, mid-thigh, hit low line drives. And for drop ball pitchers, you either can leave the drop ball alone, make the pitcher bring it up, or drop that back knee below it and try and more so golf swing it. So I like this approach by Czechia to hit the ball hard off a drop ball pitcher.
Vimrova is 1 for 4 in the tournament. Did not start yesterday against Canada. Gets the bunt down, and that is as close to being fair or foul as you can possibly get. Put pressure on the defense. That ball just stuck in the dirt. Sacrifice is successful.
That was a really good job of kind of using the bat to deaden the ball. A little bit more out in front of home plate. Carolina Diaz might not be able to get to it. She does a good job of palming the ball, not grabbing it with her glove, but with her hand, using the ground to get her grip, setting her feet, making that throw. That was close, but ultimately what Czechia wanted, moving the runner.
Sky out toward left, where Takamoto is there. And despite the single, no dice for Czechia in the 2nd. They leave their 3rd in scoring position, and we go to the 3rd with no score. Senior League Softball World Series here in Sussex County, Delaware. 50 years of the Senior League Softball World Series. Almost half of that has been hosted here in Delaware. About a half hour from the beach, the slower lower here in the Delmarva Peninsula. Really good, relaxing place to come travel to if you are from the Czech Republic or Brazil. Our European and Latin American representatives here in quarterfinal number 2. And a first pitch strike to the number 9 hitter, Miwa Takamoto. Her favorite TV show is ESPN. I have good news for you, Miwa. You are on it. Life goal achieved. Ball and a strike.
That's my favorite TV show, too. There's always something happening. My favorite episodes are softball episodes.
See what kind of script writing ability she has. 1-1. Down the third base line. We'll try it again. A ball and 2 strikes. We've had a lot of runners on. We've had a lot of runners in scoring position. No one has yet been able to push somebody across. Brazil took a double from Hasagawa last inning. Thrown out trying to stretch it into a triple. 1-2.
And oftentimes, Joel, the best time to get to really good pitchers is in that first couple innings before they've settled in. Once they get settled in and they understand your swings, maybe even your game plan, they use that to their advantage. So you want to score in the beginning because sometimes it gets harder.
Slapper towards shortstop. Nice snag, Biedelska. Throw off the bag. Ringlerova did the right thing, went and got the ball first, but in doing so, gave up the out, and the leadoff runner is on.
With the speed of Takamoto, it often speeds up infields. And this just sped up. Shortstop Biedelska, and then Ringlerova had to go get that ball.
Turn over the lineup card for Sonoda. Walked and was caught stealing in the first. Her 7 hits leads the team. It is second in the tournament. Trying to play a little small ball here. As much as we say that, she also has 4 doubles, which leads the entire tournament. Get you a leadoff hitter that can do both. Hacks away. The corners playing respect defensively. Showed bunt on that first offering. They are not playing in. They are trusting a little bit of pop to come their way.
Yeah, and especially because their pitcher has a lot of speed. Sometimes on those bunts, you'll be able to read and crash in and be able to field it because it's a little bit harder off the bat. So I think they're trusting their pitcher as well to roll them a harder bunt or a ground ball.
Still 0-2.
I've loved this tournament for so many reasons. Getting to tell the stories of these young ladies and getting to learn different cultures. Also getting to learn a lot of new cheers. Brazil has been going this entire time. I can't understand it, but it sounds really good.
I was going to say, how good's your Portuguese? 0-2, lipped out toward left field. A little bit crossed up, but Shalibova able to make the play. And there is one away.
And with the tail of a lefty, left field, some of the balls that are kind of the pop-ups, they tail back towards that left field line. So you got to keep your feet moving. And Claudia Shalibova did a really good job out there of just not giving up on the play and camping underneath it.
Language is not universal, but rhythm is, and Brazil is catchy. Tipped back off the bunt.
And that's what a lot of coaches told us that have been here before when we asked them what their girls like about the tournament so much. It's competing in softball, but it's also learning about new cultures, spending time in the dorms with other teams. And they often said that this has been the most life-changing experiences for their players.
Couple of foul balls, nothing in 2. I love the teams that exchange gifts as well. We saw Czechia hand a little gift bag to each of the Canadian players prior to last night's game. The team from Michigan actually bottled Lake Michigan sand to bring in exchange with players. 0-2 toward third. Friedlova, the knockdown. Does a good job to prevent further damage, but it is first and second with 1 away.
Another hard hit ball by Brazil right at a Czechia player that is extremely hard to field. This one to third baseman Friedlova, and she gets in front of it, knocks it down, but because of the speed out of the left side of Nakamura, just not able to get the throw over to first in time.
And now Nagasawa. We talk about these quality at-bat statistics. She is at the top of the ledger for Brazil in quality at-bats as well, 8 of them this week. Good eye to start ahead in the count.
And Brazil sticking with the game plan of toes on the line, a lot of lefties. We haven't seen a ball be hit in the right center gap, so they are banking on hitting the ball to the left side by crowding the play. Halamkova, the pitcher, has stayed on the outside, so this left side of their defense has to be ready for the force out going 3.
1-1. For the 15-year-old Nagasawa. One of 7 lefties in the batting order for Brazil. Two balls and a strike. At some point, you just play the players that you have, but when you're going through lineup construction, what does 7 lefties do to you as a manager when you try to place people in different spots?
Well, starting with your pitcher, you have to know that your pitcher can challenge both sides of the plate and is comfortable throwing to lefties. A lot of pitchers aren't very comfortable throwing to lefties, and then based on the lefties, if they're more power-hitting lefties or if they are slappers, then you have to adjust your infield. Specifically, when they have speed and can play short game, you might have to adjust your corners, specifically the left side, to be able to crash in and make plays at 1. That was a good snag behind the plate by Slavikova, picking that ball so runners don't advance.
Brazil with 2 runners on for the second straight inning. And now they've got them loaded. And not only that, they've got them loaded for their best hitter. Karen Takahama leads the team in quality at bats. She is 6th in the tournament in on-base percentage. And we'll get a mound visit to talk things over. There is no bullpen action. But we'll see what the strategy is for Lucy Hamlakova. You know, we still say it's early in the game, but it feels like it starts to get late earlier in these elimination games. This was Takahama yesterday.
Bunt pull back, crushed a ball down a right field line. And a ball to the right side at this part of the game when balls have not been driven to the right side because of where Brazil's standing in the box. This could be bases clearing. If it's in the gap to right center, this could really stretch it for inside the Parker. And it looks like Czechia's outfield is playing shallow, specifically center fielder Kwiatkowska is not very far behind second base. Obviously the infield's playing in for the force out at home, but you don't always see outfield play as shallow as center field. Left field seems normal depth.
Strikeout victim in the second. A ball and no strikes. Remember, this is a Brazilian team that won its 2 pool play games by a combined score of 30-3. And its losses were to the Philippines, who are now into the semifinals, and it gave that game up late, and to host Delaware, the #1 seed out of their pool, by a run. And it almost won that game. Left the tying run at third base when it made the final out. You kind of look at the statistics through the week. Delaware stands out as a favorite, Michigan stands out as a favorite, but who else could be the spoiler? It may be the team in teal. A ball and 2 strikes.
And one of the first pitches we've seen in a while from Halamkova that came slightly more on the inside corner. So she's worked out and in and now, kind of changed how the batter, Takahama, can approach this 2-strike count.
Base is full. 2-2.
You wonder if she's going to go back in because of how far she just went out. Takahama's eyes are probably set more on the outside part of the plate. She could sneak a rise ball right underneath the hands. That could be a really tough pitch to get a bat on.
And look how tight to the plate Takahama is. Went outside and got her fishing. So Takahama down on strikes and a big out #2.
Let's look at the sequence of these pitches. Starts on the outside for a ball, then foul ball straight back. This is the pitch that I think set up the strikeout. That inside, right at the hands, that timing feels faster to a batter when you talk effective velocity zones. Inside and up feels the fastest to a batter compared to a same mile per hour pitch on the outside.
Almost right back into the mitt. Count is 0-1 to Eduarda Hasegawa. Timing flawless on that first swing. Bases were loaded with 1 out. Takamoto a single, Nakamura a single, the walk to Nagasawa. And Hasegawa thrown out, trying to stretch the triple. Actually, it was a triple because she overslid the bag, so she had the triple and then was out.
We've seen it done today, getting out of bases loaded jam by Gonzalez, the pitcher for the Philippines. Now seeing if Halamkova, the pitcher for Czechia, can do the same.
1-2. Second of deep thought for Hasegawa. One, two. Even things up.
I love all of the loads from Brazil. I know a run hasn't been scored, but the takes that Brazil have had have been super calm. Very quiet movement in the box. When you're loud in the box, there's a lot of room that you have to make up. When you're quiet and compact, it helps you sequence better to hit a ball hard.
2-2. Wastes it away.
Brazil's not only cheering, but I have a good view out the window of the booth. They dance with the cheers. So just a lot of energy coming from their dugout. Their at-bats are nice and quiet, not too much energy, but the dugout is where it's bringing it.
Halamkova to get out of the jam. Digs a little deeper. The count is full. Nowhere to put Hasegawa. And Brett Joyner calls time to say, I got to be able to see this plate on a full count.
and runners will be on the move. So for infielders, they have to hold their ground, understand that there might be a little chaos in front of them in the baseline, but to get the easiest out, and that's usually to have your mind focused on one.
3-2. Walked her, and Brazil draws first blood.
Just a really good at-bat by Hasegawa. That's a tough pitch to lay off in a 3-2 situation. No scores happen in the game. You want to be the hero. You want to get the big hit, but to take your walk when given, that is really a selfless at-bat and just a really good eye in the box.
What does Slavakova try to convey? Is this an emotional meeting, or is this a strategic meeting?
I think it's a I have your back meeting. Sometimes as pitchers it feels like you're on an island. It physically looks like you're on an island by yourself on the field, and so it's hot outside. You know if you don't win, your season is over, so that's a lot of pressure on a pitcher, and so sometimes you just need your catcher, your battery mate to tell you that they have your back no matter what, so you feel less alone out there.
Carolina Gias, first pitch, popped it up. Could be tough on the infield, but a good job by Slavakova to retire the side. Bases were loaded, only one run, minimal damage, and between the teams, they've left 10 reaching without scoring. Defending champions are in the house, trying to repeat here in Delaware. Team from Michigan, Grand Blanc. Some of the same young ladies that won the title a year ago. They will take on Pennsylvania in our 5 o'clock matchup. The winner takes on the Philippines, who won by run rule. I think more impressive than the 10-0 was the nothing. The 12 strikeouts by Erica May Gonzalez in relief, including an immaculate inning.
Yeah, that was probably the best pitching performance we have seen in this tournament so far. If Michigan can make it out of their game later today, I'm really excited to see what she can do against them.
Got on top of that one. Matsumoto with a good throw from second. And Shibalova is retired on 2 pitches. Brings up Anna Friedlova. 0 for 1 with a ground out today. 3 hits the first time through the order for Czechia. You've got to feel good about what you've been able to do offensively. Now it's just, can you string it together in a little bit of a different fashion?
Yeah, and it's kind of happening on both sides of the ball. So something that gives you a little bit of confidence. Runs are at a premium right now. They're getting base runners on, but that also credits defense and pitching for both teams, that they've been able to kind of bear down when the situation and that pressure rises.
Just inside. 2 balls and no strikes. This Brazilian team left the bases loaded. Did pick up 1 run. top half of the third. Victorious in the regional round by knocking off Mexico 6-0. Toward third, backhand, and dropped by the other Matsumoto. They are cousins. And a runner is on.
I thought that was the right decision by Carolini at third base to backhand that ball. But because of the spin of it, you'd like to continue to move your feet through it. But I've been saying it all week. Pressure on the defense, making a team field the ball, throw the ball. When you make them do that, things tend to go your way sometimes.
Strike on the outside corner. Friedlova dancing a little bit, trying to draw Gios into a throw. And Yadelska takes away. Czechia hails from Prague, the Latin American team from Sao Paulo in southern Brazil, the capital. Same time zone, but still a really long flight. About 10 hours plus from Sao Paulo. One of the 10 largest cities in the world, largest in South America.
But same time zone has to play to your advantage because other teams are dealing with pretty significant time changes, so their body has to acclimate. Not for Brazil.
On the screws, up the middle. Back-to-back base runners, and the second hit for Yadelska. And now Slavikova, who had the double in the first inning, that did not produce a run because Yadelska was held at third. She's also coming off hitting the 3-run jack yesterday, so feeling really good at the plate.
That swing yesterday was beautiful. The perfect sequence. Get landed to your hitting position, your rotational forces, release your barrel. When home runs are hit in the perfect sequence, they almost look effortless.
Strike on the outside corner.
And Joel, it's so interesting that Czechia has gotten 2 runners on. We haven't really heard their dugout cheer, dance, do much. And then on the other side, when Brazil had bases loaded, their dugout was kind of going crazy.
A bunt. And Silva threw it off the bag. Really good stretch by Takahama.
She held on to that ball, and that's hard for multiple reasons. One, it's a close play. 2, the ball takes you kind of into the lane. And look at that toe being able to stay on it. And her mask was flying off because of a little bit of a collision. So a lot going on, and just the pure focus on getting the out.
A half shoe size smaller, and Slavikova is safe. Maki Shvetkova struck out to end the first. And it's an intentional walk. So Brazil will load up the bases to create the force with 2 outs in the inning. They will also face somebody who is looking for her first hit of the tournament instead of somebody who's hitting 500 with 4 RBI.
Yeah, statistically that is the right move for Brazil. Maybe to attack a hitter who's not seeing the ball as well. But if you're the batter that comes after an intentional walk, it always gives you that extra motivation that you want to get it done, kind of to prove the other team wrong.
Almost threw it away. It's a Kotezova. Bounced back to the pitcher to lead off the second inning. Did a lot of work in the circle yesterday for Czechia as well. That was in their first game of a doubleheader. Czechia has played a lot of softball in the last 24 hours. Swings through.
And we've seen the intentional walk to make bases loaded so that you can make the play at home, but this seems more intentional walk to get to batter Mackey because it's 2 outs. With less than 2, infield has been in on some of these intentional walks going home.
Little bit up. Error, single, intentional walk. How the bases got loaded here against Silva. Friedlova at third, Yadelska at second. And Shvekova is at first. Kotezova trying to deliver on the ground. Off the glove at shortstop of Sonoda. One run is in. The wave for Yadelska. She scores, and Czechia takes the lead. Hit it hard somewhere. Good things will happen.
And how about those dance moves? We talked about Brazil purposely, intentionally walking maybe to get to this batter, Kotezova, and hitting the ball hard, like you said, Joel. It never fails you. A great job on an inside pitch, driving it through the 5-6 hole, creating that pressure on the defense. And how about that for Czechia, back into this ball game.
I mean, if they didn't come up there, you're almost looking up to the sky and thinking, what do we have to do? Left runners at second and third in the first inning, left a runner at second in the second inning. Had them loaded here in the third inning. Finally able to push across.
Now here's the first baseman, Anna Ringalova.
And winning championships often comes from teams who the hero every game is someone different, because other teams start to learn who your best players are, or maybe your players who have the highest average are and game plan for those. But if you're hitting 1 through 9, everyone is stepping up. It's really hard to beat a team like that. And so Czechia, their bats came alive a little bit more yesterday. Their bats becoming even more clutch today. And so I'm really liking the fight out of this team.
Ringlarova just 15 years old. Takes one right on the corner. Eliška Kotezova delivers with her first knock of the tournament. Drives in a pair for Czechia. And now the what-ifs turn around on the other foot, because Brazil left the bases loaded in the third, left 2 on, and had a runner thrown out at third in the second, and had a runner caught stealing in the first at second base. 2-1. Little humpback toward first. And Ringlarova's retired by Takahama. Czechia, though, does play 2. Kotezova comes through.
Intentional walk to get to Kotezova, and she said, who, me? Let me show you how I can hit the ball hard, as well as these dance moves.
21 now to score your back.
The difference right now is the first hit of the tournament for Eliška Kotezova. Finally, the floodgates breaking for Czechia. Bases loaded, and an intentional walk to get to Kotezova. Hard ground ball off the glove at shortstop, and Czechia has its first lead.
Growing up, I've had coaches that have told me You know, it doesn't matter what you do in your first at-bats of the game. It always matters when it gets later in the game, when the pressure has heightened. And so in this case, for Kotazova, doesn't matter what you did in your first couple games, it matters what you do in elimination. So later in the tournament, having your best at-bat when your team needs you the most.
Fouled back by the first of the Matsumoto cousins. This is Caroline, who walked her first time through. Naomi struck out. She's next. You know, also think about it from Kotezova's standpoint. She kind of wore it in the circle in the first game, a run rule defeat yesterday. So to still have the erasure mentality to come back in a big spot.
Yeah, today for both of these teams was kind of the flush it, bounce back mentality, or flushing things that have happened in the tournament to bounce back. So the game always kind of comes around back to you and presents itself more opportunities. It's just a matter if you can stay on your A game and stay ready.
The 1-2. Just away. The 16-year-old Matsumoto, captain of this team, and a big fan of One Tree Hill. 2-2. We'll try it again. Matsumoto just trying to stay within herself. Doesn't want to be anything other than what she's trying to be lately. Two. Off speed. We have not seen the change pulled out of the bag for Hamlakova a ton today.
And I think that's the pitch that when the top of the lineup comes back up, she is going to need to execute, because when the top of the lineup gets multiple at-bats, they start to figure things out. So you want to be able to be versatile and change different speeds.
And that is ball 4. And some peace of mind headed down to first base for Matsumoto. And now her cousin Naomi.
I've seen this a lot throughout the tournament, of siblings, cousins on the same team. And I just think it's so special that you're not only representing your community, but you're being able to do it with people you've grown up with, or in this case, family.
And a good sacrifice to get cousin over to second. 3-4 for Matsumoto. Brings up Miwa Takamoto. Has the lone run for Brazil.
And our coaches told us that she's very fast and learns quickly. So as a 9 batter that's able to learn quickly, you've learned from 8 other players in front of you what a pitcher is throwing, so that can definitely work into your advantage.
Takes a strike, did not like it up high. Little head tilt. Infield in all around, so they are anticipating she's going to try to keep this in front of them. She did have an infield single the last time. Puts it on the ground, foul.
And her barrel was just lagging just a little bit, so instead of having it in front of your eyes, what I call eyes behind, you always want to have your eyes behind the play in front of you, whether you're bunting or in the infield fielding. And there the barrel kind of was tilted more towards third baseline. So that's why it went foul just by a few inches.
Got her. Chasing away. Takamoto is out number 2. And with the leadoff runner on for the 3rd time in 4 innings.
I love that pitch on the outside corner. Drop ball pitchers are some of the hardest to be able to barrel up. And when you throw in the accuracy of Hamlakova, this has made a really tough task for Brazil. Now, the top of the lineup, we talked about it, Joel, bringing out the changeup more because they are on time.
Hit it the other way, and the wave around third base for Matsumoto. The throw comes in slow, down to second. Goes Sonoda. RBI number 6 for the shortstop, and Brazil has tied it at 2.
And we knew the top of the lineup was going to be on time And they're on time from pitch 1. Crowded the plate once again, Sonoda, and this time she kind of insides out this ball. Great base running by Takamoto to tie this ball game up. But you start to wonder, is Alamkova in the circle going to utilize that changeup, or is she going to try and challenge them more on the in? Because if you've seen someone multiple times throw in the same spot at this level and with this quality of hitters, they're going to start barreling more up to that left center area.
Again, going the other way. And for all the lefty talk, we really have seen Brazil comfortable and confident going to all fields. It's not specific enough. Which Harry Potter? We got 8.
Joel, you know me. You've learned me enough in these past few days. I'm not a movie watcher. Probably only have watched maybe the first Harry Potter, if that.
What?
That's the one where they run and they try and go through the wall. I've watched that.
I'm pretty
one.
sure that happens in all 8 movies.
So maybe I watched all 8.
You're going to watch the TV show, right?
I might tune into that. I'm a TV show person, the shorter attention span.
1-1 to Nakamura. Behind it. Caroline Matsumoto across to tie the game. Sonoda, a go-ahead run. 1-2. Nope. Down on strikes, Nakamura away. And Czechia gets out of it with the damage minimal. We are deadlocked mid-4. We are back where we started, tied up at 2, heading to the home half of the 4th. Czechia finally able to find some daylight against Joanna de Brito Silva last inning. And then her offense picked her up. This just feels like, Riley, one of those games where people are just going to keep getting on, and it is going to come down to who can have the last timely hit. We've played 7 half innings. There have been base runners in all of them.
Yeah, it feels very much like a boxing match. Punches continuing to get thrown. Who is going to land that knockout punch? And then who is going to be able to survive all of the punches being thrown? It also is most definitely a bit of a pitcher's duel. Yeah, 2 runs across for both teams, but the pitchers are holding it down in the circle.
Ball and a strike here. Vimrova sacrificed herself the first time, has 1 hit over the course of the tournament. Great look up in the zone. catch you by surprise when you've got a drop ball pitcher that comes up high on you?
Oh, most definitely. Especially if it's really spinning up high, not just being thrown high. But my game plan against drop ball pitcher was always to see the ball up. I know I can do the most damage with the ball. That's kind of that thigh high, belt high. So I really just try and let any of the balls at my knees go, not even trying to feed into the pitcher's best pitch. So if I see it up, I'm going to get a swing.
Right back to the pitcher. Help from Matsumoto. 1 down. Eight, 9, and 1 here for Czechia. Barankova, who flat out to left field.
Second baseman, Johannes,
You talked about how tight to the plate the Brazilian batters were standing. The Czechia lefties are crowding quite a bit too. A ball and no strikes.
Yeah, a few more lefties in that Brazil lineup. So you wonder if Silva, the pitcher, feels more comfortable because of all the times she's practiced against that full, heavy lefty lineup. Czechia still does have a lot of lefties, but Halamkova hasn't challenged them to inside as much.
First time Brazil has ever been at this level of this tournament. There have been 3 Latin American teams that have won the Senior League World Series, all of them from Puerto Rico. Only one other international team has ever won, that was the Philippines. Bunted, foul.
And the way that the Philippines played earlier, if they can continue to play that good through semis, I think they have a real shot. We haven't quite figured out who the Philippines will be playing yet. That game will come after us.
First Senior League World Series, 1976. It was won by Tampa, Florida. That championship team will actually be here to be honored on Sunday during the 50th anniversary of that championship game. Towards shortstop. And Sanada just not in time. Barankova beats it out. And we've got another base runner. Somebody aboard in all 8 half innings.
Barankova going to that soft slap, making it really tough for the shortstop Sanada to get that ball. I think the correct play is Matsumoto, the third baseman, to come across into the 3-4 hole and grab it. It was going to be close no matter what.
And she's safe.
Is her foot on the bag is the question? No, not from that angle. It doesn't look like it.
I don't think the foot was ever on the bag. I do think Barankova just beat it anyway. So I guess there's 2 different pieces of this you could look at.
Yeah. But I think at the point of the game that you're at, got 2 challenges. If you get it right, you keep it. If you don't, you lose it. You're in the 4th inning, and you know this is going to be a close ball game to the end because of how well the pitching and defense has been. And Brazil's right by the play. Their dugout is right by first base, so I think that's why they're challenging. They might have had a different angle.
Now remember, Brazil challenged the triple for Hasegawa when she overslid the bag and was called out. Lost that challenge back in the 2nd inning. So, if it loses the challenge here, it is done with challenges in a tie game for the remainder unless we were to go to extra innings.
Yeah, that challenge early on in the game, I think, is something they're probably thinking about right now. Because from our angle with that slide, it was a pretty easy decision for the umpires. This one might be a little bit tougher, but I still think from the amazing work of our camera crew here today, we were able to see that the foot wasn't on the bag, and Barankova, I think she beat the throw no matter what.
Shouts to the replay ops, by the way, on the 3-play. Going down frame by frame. if this stands, it's just a 1-out single. So you wonder the calculations that go into asking for a review, especially with it being the last review you have if you get it wrong.
Yeah, I think they must have seen something that they were really confident down in their dugout close to first base, because in this situation, if you go into the last 3 innings without a challenge, that puts you in a really tough place.
Max Cannon is the crew chief, and Ryan Yamagata on the left is the umpire that made the initial call. So if this stands, runner at first, 1 out, and Brazil is out of challenges. And Brazil is out of challenges.
Yeah, so when we talk about how we kind of are feeling this game going, that kind of boxing match, punches being thrown, and kind of feel like at the end someone's going to throw a knockout punch. Now Brazil doesn't have a way to challenge a really close play. So if you're Brazil's defense as a player, let's not make anything close.
Top of the lineup here for Czechia. Shabilova on the ground, right back to the circle. Look to first, then look to second. You could almost hear the dugout saying, "What are you doing?"
You heard a lot of no's, maybe. I'm not sure if they were speaking in Portuguese or English, but definitely the emotion was, do not throw it too.
We're out of challenges. Take the easy out.
A hard hit back to the pitcher. I think because it's hit that hard, it was smart by Silva to look at second, but because she went to her knees, that's what should take away the play at second for you as a player. So yes, she read the speed and direction right, but because of how she fielded it, the correct play from the jump would be to go one. Still gets the out.
First pitch swinging, little duck snort, diving attempt by Nasagawa, ricochets into the corner. So Barankova comes around to score, Czechia takes the lead, and Friedlova delivers for the Czechs.
One of the first balls that we have seen hit kind of towards that right side, the right field. A rule of thumb in softball, baseball, try not to dive towards a line because you don't have a backup towards the line as an outfielder. If you dive in the gap, usually your center fielder can come to be your backup. So because that ball gets a little bit away of Nagasawa in right field, Fridolova gets to be in second.
And now Yadelska. One-0, right side, somebody's got to cover, and on the dive, the out is recorded. Takahama is the anchor of this defense. Then Brazil gets out with minimal damage again, but the lead is gone. Czechia in front 3-2.
Look at this effort by Takahama, laying out, clutch situation. Everything's on the line for these two.
top of the fifth inning will be the right fielder, Beatrice Nakasawa.
Beatrice Nagasawa to lead things off for Latin America with a walk and a pop-up to shortstop today. Brazil playing from behind for the second time. Czechia with a one-out infield single, and then Anna Friedlova deposits that run with a double. Now Brazil has had answers, so will it do it again with the heart of the order? This has got to be one of those games, Riley, where as a pitcher, you feel a little bit worn. Base runners in every single half inning, so these have been hard half innings of work.
Yeah, nothing has come easy for either pitcher in this game. We keep referring back to it, but punches thrown from both sides. So I've enjoyed the fight from both teams. One scores, the other one comes back, putting some quality at-bats together, taking advantage of mistakes. It's really starting to feel like that elimination play. In the beginning of this game, it was kind of a slower pace. Both teams were kind of getting their feel. And now it's really getting to those later innings where every play matters even more. And you've got to, as a player, kind of separate this game from the possibility that if you don't win, your season's over. So that's always hard mentally as a player, knowing when you get to the later innings and you can count how many more outs you have. If you're the team that's not in front, you can start to press.
It was Nagasawa that made the diving attempt in right field on the hit that scored the run last half inning. The foul ball's off the top of the dugout. It's been a really consistent bat. Halamkova's done a good job here for Czechia. If they were to be able to advance, that saves their best arm. Nila Sveshkova could come back in the semis tomorrow. And down on strikes for out number one.
Well, that was a good sequence of pitches by Halamkova, especially the last one, going outside, making the pitch untouchable. When pitchers get ahead, they're able to go to their pitcher's pitches, so able to really spin the ball.
Takahama, a couple of strikeouts today. That is a rarity for her. So if you're one of those people that believes that batters are due.
And I am a full believer of being due. Having had my fair share of slumps throughout my career, you always like to feel like you're due.
Only player with multiple triples in this tournament, including one yesterday. Brazil's bats have put up 30 runs in 2 wins. Strike on the outside corner. Their losses were 6-5 and 8-3.
Now we've seen a lot of wins by a lot of runs, so a lot of losses by bigger deficits. And Brazil's one of the teams that's kind of kept the difference relatively close. Both of those, or I should say, one of those losses, the one that was by 5, happened in later innings. So not some of those run rule losses that we've seen some of the teams in the tournament take.
Ball 4 to Takahama. And it brings up Eduarda Hasegawa, who had that triple back in the second inning. And it has all blended together because we said that that had been challenged and lost. That was not challenged. It was discussed. There was no official challenge ever brought to the table. So Brazil actually does still have one challenge remaining after losing their challenge in the last half inning. So it was just a triple, an out, a conversation, and a pitching change that we can talk about when we come back. the Philippines dominating in our first quarterfinal today. How about 12 strikeouts in relief? At one point, 7 consecutive. There was an immaculate inning thrown. And Erica May Gonzalez maybe with the performance of the week for any team.
Yeah, and she did it with kind of a calm, cool, collected attitude like she's done it before. Philippines very impressive in that first game today.
Sets the table to take on the winner of Michigan versus Pennsylvania. Winner of this game takes on Delaware or Hawaii. And we talked about her just before the timeout. Yesterday's winning pitcher for Czechia, Nela Sveshkova. Awesome against Canada. Struck out 12. Through 123 pitches, has 21 strikeouts for the tournament total. You were wondering if Czechia could potentially get through this game with a win and then bring their ace into the semifinals tomorrow, but in elimination softball, you do of course have to win the first one to get to the second one. So here comes Sveshkova in the 5th with a runner on. First pitch bunt right back to her. And out of her hand, 2 aboard, 1 out. Brazil continues to threaten. Both teams threatening every half inning.
And I loved this decision by Brazil. Specifically, Hasegawa to show the bunt, get the bunt down. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Sveshkova is a rise ball pitcher, so a good job of staying top half. We've said it all week, so when you enter a game, the ball tends to find you. And I know Sveshkova, the pitcher, the ball already found her, was in her glove to pitch it, but ball immediately found her. A good decision to try and bunt it back to the pitcher and put some pressure on the defense.
And that is a base hit for Eduarda Hasegawa. Brings up Carolina Gias. Infield single back in the 2nd, popped up to the catcher in the 3rd. Hamlamkova goes 4 1/3. Her undoing was the 6 walks, including the last batter she faced. Pop up on the infield. It's an infield fly. There are 2 down. So now, can Marumoto get the job done? She's walked twice. She's scored a run. Looking for her 2nd hit of the tournament to try to tie things back up in the 5th.
And we've seen Sveshkova quite a few times in this tournament pitch really, really well. She's a rise ball pitcher that has some of the most tight spin we've seen. There's a variety of rise ball pitchers, but Sveshkova specifically has a ton of swing and misses, so that just tells me her pitch has some good wiggle on it. Induces a lot of pop-ups, gets a lot of strikeouts.
There was at one point yesterday that Sveshkova had about 14 swings and misses through the first 2 innings. Sometimes they don't have to swing.
Yeah. And think about the difference between drop ball with Hamlamkova, who was the previous pitcher, now a completely different plane with Sveshkova. So a great decision by Czechia to pair these 2 together.
Just missed. First and second are the Brazilian runners. 2 runs. Or excuse me, 2 runners. 2 outs. Down a run. 3-1. Right down the pipe.
We've seen teams take a really long time to be able to start barreling up Sveshkova. So Brazil might have to continue with that small ball approach. Got a lot of lefties, maybe can throw in a slap here and there, but you got to be top half against her rise ball spin.
And Klara Dostova has gone down to the bullpen already. Payoff. Ball 4. So the bases are loaded. 3rd walk drawn by Marumoto today. And I wonder if it's one of those things where if you're Czechia, you fire the bullet with Sveshkova, but if it's not there, you go to option 3 right away, considering how much she's already thrown in this tournament.
Yeah, but it is win or go home, and Sveskova is Czechia's ace, and a lot of coaches say they want their ace in when it matters most, someone who's probably pitched the most innings for your team throughout the season, so you've seen them battle out of a ton of situations. So I think sticking with Sveskova, I mean, Halamkova did a really good job, so if anything, bringing back a drop ball to offset the rise.
Shallow, center field, stuttering, and Kotezova does a good job to square with the high sky, and the bases are left loaded again in this game. Czechia's lead is 1.
This inning in Latin America, no run.
Game 22 of 28 here at the Senior League Softball World Series. It's the second quarterfinal, and Czechia plays with a 1-run lead. It forces Latin America to strand the bases loaded again. The Brazilians have put 11 runners on that have not scored today. Between the two teams, there have been 17 runners that have reached and not scored. That's either left on base, caught stealing, what have you.
They're getting on base, they're doing their jobs. It's a matter of that clutch hitting, that final step to being able to win championships, and this is a win or go home. If you're the announcer here at the field, it's win or go back to the hotel. Not quite go home just yet. But in all seriousness, these teams can start counting down the outs until they're either moving on or their season is done. So that pressure can start mounting in the back of your head, especially at the point of the game right now. Brazil is behind. It can start to make you press as a team.
And Slavikova takes the leadoff walk. Doubled off the fence back in the first inning, so her second time aboard. And now Maki Shvekova. We got a pinch runner as well. Andrea Iradkova, 15-year-old to run. That's our voice actor.
Yeah, when we go through these player surveys, we find a lot of fun facts out about these players, most of them playing other sports. But Iradkova, her and her family, talented family, voice actors, child actors. Just, I'd love to see a game of charades in their house, or a game night in their house that takes maybe
like charades, you can't use your voice. That would be
the acting part is what I'm getting at. A game that aside from the sports, because they have artistic capabilities as well.
First pitch high to Shvekova. on the ground hard and foul. Right in the heart of the order for Czechia, who was run ruled yesterday 15-0 against the defending champions from Michigan, and then came right back about 45 minutes later and beat Canada to put themselves in this position in the elimination bracket.
Now that bounce back took a lot of heart. Not only losing, but when you lose by a lot, you can sometimes get in your own head. And they were able to flush it, played really loose in that second game. And we've kind of talked about how this game is close. We're entering kind of the last few innings and where it can start to feel really intense for both of these teams. I think if a team can stay loose at this point, not make it feel like a big situation, might help them to play more freely and get out of this with the win.
2-2 high. Tough balls today. It's a high sky, and they throw to second with the force, not in time. There is not a cloud in the sky. That has to have made it more difficult for some of these fly balls.
Definitely harder to track right now. I played outfield. I'm not a big fan of sun balls, but something that these players have to deal with. You didn't see center fielder Nakatora or shortstop Sonoda using their glove to block the sun. So you wonder if they were even able to track it off the bat very well. I think Nakatura, the center fielder, could have had a chance to dive on that ball, maybe freeze the runner enough that if she dives and doesn't catch it in the air, can go 2. But either way, kind of that Bermuda Triangle no man's land that's always hard to get out.
Bunt goes foul.
Very smart by Matsumoto at third. She could have picked it up, could have gotten out because she was on it relatively quick, but understanding the count now, 2 strikes on the batter. And her pitcher's done very well with the bottom part of the zone, able to roll a ground ball. So maybe potentially could get a force out.
0-2. Live to see another. Kotezova had her first hit of the tournament last time through. Got Czechia on the board with a 2-run single just under the glove of the shortstop, Sonata. Popped it up. Again, a high sky. Catch made by Nagasawa in right. And the ice cream truck is here. I can't believe they made everybody go through the first 2 games without any ice cream. 10 flavors, they have milkshakes.
And it is delicious. One of the first nights.
This is like an NBA entrance for the ice cream truck.
Player arrivals.
It's like a UFC walkout. Bunt foul.
I can attest that the ice cream has been delicious. Got it delivered in one of my first games this week. Kind of a challenge. It was the bottom of the 7th, so only a few outs, but it was melting. We were trying not to let it melt, but still being able to talk about the game. But very delicious. I know the teams have been loving it. You walk around the concourse and there's a lot of teams that are hanging out within each other, teams hanging out within themselves.
Chopper towards short. And the short way for 1. Sonoda to Matsumoto. The snow cones with the sour stripes, though, that we saw earlier. Come up with creative ways to eat dessert. You come to America to play some softball, and you're like, what is this sour stripe ice cream thing?
Or you come to America, you get the sour stripes, and then you bring it back to your home country, and you claim it as your own.
Well, it's like when you go to Europe and you get the Smarties at duty free on the way home. I think we're going to have a pinch hitter. Vimrova will be pulled for Klara Dasova. A 16-year-old. A walk for Slavikova. That has her at third. Shvekova with the single stands at first. Excuse me, fielder's choice puts Ringlerova at first. Dostova, a pitcher herself. One of the hardest throwers that Czechia has. So good eye to stare in at Silva. That's behind her. Opportunity for the run to come home, and a foot first slide puts Czechia up by 2. Slavikova, for the second consecutive game, contributes in a big way offensively.
That was a great read by number 7, Yerotkova. Immediately off of the catcher's glove, she was in. And the slide kind of sneak under the ball that was being thrown to the pitcher. And that is the little things that is going to be the difference of this ball game right now in Czechia's favor. But that extra base running, that next play mentality that sets you apart. And when you're able to chip away and scratch more runs, and your pitchers have been throwing as well as Czechia's have, it starts to feel like a win can be out of reach for an opposing team.
There's the pinch runner of Yerotkova, who scores after Slavikova took the walk. Then Shvekova with the single, the fielder's choice for Ringlerova. And that is ball 4 for Barankova. Or excuse me, now Barankova. That was ball 4 for the pinch hitter of Dostova.
It just looks like Silva in the circle is having trouble finding the zone again.
Slapped just inside the line. Barankova in the 9 spot delivers. Ringlerova scores. Dostova to second. And Czechia starting to stretch the lead a little bit as we play here in the 5th.
And that is textbook slapping, kind of finding where the defense is not playing. That harder slap, not even a full swing, just more of a pepper mentality. Sneaks just inside the line. Perfect placement for base runners to be able to get around. Barankova has been really good at the bottom of this lineup, turning it back over. And what more do you want from your 9-hole than to bring it back to the top? Smile on her face. And you know who's probably happiest about this inning is Mila Sveskova, the Czechia pitcher, who can play a little bit more free.
And we'll get a pitching change here for Latin America. Down by 3 in the 5th.
Your attention, please.
Eduarda Hasegawa is the second pitcher of the day for Latin America, replaces Joanna Tabrita Silva. After 4 2/3 and 9 hits, Czechia finally opens the floodgates, pushing 3 across. And a strike, top of the zone to Shibilova. 0 for 3 today. If you put enough base runners on, eventually you're going to score some, or so you would hope.
And I think this started last night for Czechia, kind of that offensive explosion we talked about in the beginning of the game, and it's kind of bleeding into today. Today, a little bit more patient, not as much scoring in the beginning of the game, but now it kind of feels like, you said, the floodgates have opened. And I always say, when it's hard to score runs and then you finally do, it feels like your team has permission to score runs. I know that sounds weird, but it just allows everyone to play more freely, be more free in the box to swing.
In the air, deep, long run back for Nakamura. That ball is gone. Picking up where she left off with a 3-for-4 day yesterday. Shibalova, second home run of the tournament for Czechia, her first.
And this ball carried and carried out to deep center field. Good timing, kind of a little bit of the bottom half, but when you have great bat speed and you use your hips to hit balls, if you swing and you miss just a little bit on the bottom, that ball can carry as that one did. I love the reactions, just pure joy out of Czechia, kind of one step closer every time they score a run to be able to continue their season together tomorrow.
It's now a 6-run lead for Czechia. We talked all game about how Brazil has played in close games, the ones that they've lost. So they find themselves in a little bit of an unfamiliar situation, being behind by 6 late. Pitch downstairs.
I just really enjoyed watching how after breaks, whether that be delays or pitching changes, how Czechia just comes back even better. I think during their conversations that they're having in the dugout or with their coaches during these breaks, they're kind of joking, having some fun, not taking it too serious. And you know, every player at this tournament is taking this seriously. They're playing the game for a reason. They've played it this long for a reason. But sometimes you got to go back to the basics, playing free, having fun, joking around with your teammates.
Chop, third. Matamoto on to first. 8 batters later, the inning is over, but Czechia takes a 6-run lead. Not that many more outs to go.
And this swing from Shibalova just immediately knew it out of the box. The reactions, Czechia feeling good going into the bottom of the inning.
Czechia explodes 5 runs in the 5th inning, including a 3-run home run, and now in the driver's seat as we welcome you back up into the booth. It is a steamy, hot day here in the slower lower of Delaware. Riley West, Joel Godet. At this point, what does Latin America have to do to fight back?
Yeah, they have to piece together at bats. No one can be the hero at this point. We're down by quite a few runs. So pass the bat mentality, good at bat after good at bat. String some things together and you're back in this ball game.
And they've done that. They just haven't driven the runs home. First pitch misses upstairs. Starting at the bottom of the order here with Takamoto. The problem is that they're now doing it against one of the best pitchers in this tournament. Nella Sveshkova coming on in relief. Started the day as the tournament leader with 21 strikeouts.
Yeah, so for Brazil, it's almost like a complete restart, having to figure out Sveshkova, the pitcher. What can she throw? What is her most dominant pitches? Yeah, later on in the tournament, you can kind of scout a bit more, but you've also been playing around the same times as these other teams are warming up, so not able to scout the full amount you'd probably like to. So right now, just Brazil figuring out Sveshkova, and they're kind of down to their last 6 outs to make something happen.
Chopper, right side, got a cover. And out number 1 recorded. Good job by Ringlerova to get over. And Sonoda now at the top of the lineup. You pointed this out yesterday when we saw Sveshkova's pitch. Watch her hand. The way that she almost cups the ball. Kind of like a gymnastics false grip with the bend of her wrist. Makes it really hard as a hitter to pick up what's coming.
Yeah, just any little thing as a hitter when you're facing a good pitcher gives you some information. So whether that you are consciously or subconsciously kind of thinking of how is a pitcher gripping a ball, well, Sveshkova in the circle is kind of moving her wrist in a way that makes it really hard to identify her grip until she's about to release the ball. So she's not giving you any extra insight on what pitch is coming.
Yesterday, 12 strikeouts in the win against Canada. And she was as good late as she was early. K'd the final 2 batters of the game. 123 pitches and right back at it. 1-1. Right to the shortstop. 2 down. Yadelska's had a good day.
Yeah, and that ball, although she made look easy when it's almost rising at you, that low line drive, you got to keep your eyes behind the ball so the play's happening in front of you. So she's had a good day, made routine plays as well as a few extras that wouldn't be considered as routine, but makes them look routine.
Hapaya Nakamura. Infield single in the 3rd. Immediately behind. More than almost anybody, Sveshkova gets ahead of batters in this field. It's 1-1. More often than not, gets ahead of batters.
It always happens that way. When you say something, it usually is the opposite.
Does your approach change if you know, A, you're up against a really good pitcher, but B, who's all over the zone, and Sveshkova with an easy one to first for a 1-2-3 sixth?
Simple answer, yes, it changes.
We've got 8 on the board for Czechia, up to bat in the 6th next. Little League and ESPN, proud members of the Aspen Institute's Project Play 6330. It's focused on getting 63% of kids playing sports by 2030. You can learn more about what Little League is doing to get kids on the field and all about the ESPN Take Back Sports Initiative by visiting littleleague.org/Project Play. All those autographed softballs for all of the teams playing in this field. First pitch swing. And Czechia right back in it here for Yadelska on board.
And Yadelska definitely in an uncomfortable position. I think she might have stepped on the bag wrong, was out of the box, running right. As soon as she hit the bag, she started to limp back. That left foot is what it looks like when she hit it. She is staying on the base, so maybe uncomfortable, but not hurt enough to come off the field.
Waved off the athletic trainer. It's her third hit today. Singles in the first, the third, and now the sixth.
You can tell by that approach, the first pitch swing, she's seeing the ball well, feeling good.
Now Slavikova with the first home run for this team yesterday. Shabilova hit their second home run today. Both of them 3-run blasts. And right now, both of them not the game-winning hit, but the difference maker in each game. You know, it's funny, we started this one, Riley, talking about how maybe Latin America is the team that could play spoiler outside of the two favorites, Delaware and Michigan. But Czechia has found a groove in its last two games.
Yeah, and sometimes it's the hottest hitting team.
Looped the other way. Awkward and over the head of Nagasawa. Curled and then kept tailing on her. And even with a tough ankle, corner to corner goes Yadelska. Coach, I'm good. Just like that, Czechia back in business.
And a good piece of hitting to the right side, letting this ball travel later into the zone. Actually a little bit more down, getting that back knee below it. A tough play for Nagasawa in right field. Because of the righty tail, it's going to tail towards the right field line off the bat. She flipped her hips the opposite way. Sometimes you have to put into play where the ball will end up versus where it looks like it's going. But either way, hard enough hit ball that makes for a tough play for Nagasawa.
Barbara Vagnarova is summoned as the pinch runner. Yadelska's over there at third, like, yeah, I'm good. Pinch run for somebody else.
Well, now she's only 60 feet away from home. And so she's made it far enough. She says, Coach, I'm staying here.
Czechia pinch ran for Slavikova as well an inning ago. That led to a run. So now Shvekova, and off her foot. We've got an ankle alert here for the Czechs.
Yeah, when that ball is fouled off directly into your ankle bone, it's one of the more painful parts of softball. There is some laughing going on down here, but watch how it, off the bat, ooh, maybe toe. And I hate to admit this, but I've lost a toenail from that exact swing.
Before you said nail, I thought you were going to say I lost a toe from that exact swing.
No, not quite, but it felt like it. So I know the pain that Svechkova is feeling there in the box. It's always a good sign when players are laughing. It kind of allows us up here to kind of have that conversation about my toe that was off.
Infield in.
Now, infield needs to go for this out at home. You have a tough enough challenge ahead, having to put up 6 runs to tie it. So you don't want that deficit to grow.
Way too high. In the 7th, It's Nagasawa, Takahama, and Hasegawa. 3, 4, and 5 for Latin America. Want to try to keep what they need to do to a minimum. The winner takes on Delaware or Hawaii. That'll be our last game coming up tonight. Hit hard, high and deep. Playable as Nakamura goes back and baskets that down. Runners do tag.
That was a good play by Nakamura there in center field. That ball continued to carry, and the flags in the outfield, they're kind of blowing backwards. So the balls that are going in the outfield might continue to go out. A good swing by Maki Svetskova to get a ball deep enough to allow runners to tag. But a good play as well by Nakatura there. It's always tough as an outfielder going back on a ball. Infield and outfielders. Outfielders are a little bit more used to it. But to be able to run and keep your glove tucked and then at the last second bring it out to make the catch. Also at this point of day, kind of fighting the sun a little bit. So she made that play look pretty easy, but been there before. That is not an easy play.
Kotezova, first hit of the tournament, was an RBI single in the third. That gave Czechia the lead. At that point, it was 2-1. And really, Brazil was the team with the momentum. Brazil had runners in scoring position in the second and the third. Just hadn't been able to do a ton of damage. Czechia was the first one to do damage.
Feels like Czechia has kind of this silent confidence about them. They've been very calm throughout this game. If you were to walk up to this field a couple innings ago without looking at the scoreboard, you would have definitely thought that Brazil was up and all the momentum was on their side. They've been loud in the dugout the entire time, kind of trying to create the momentum in the dugout and let that affect the field. But Czechia has kind of been the opposite, kind of more quiet and calm and just really been able to execute with runners on, and just that's been the difference.
Ringlerova comes up after the walk. There is more action in the bullpen. Isabella Tavrea is loosening up for Brazil. As Fernando Oda looks for some answer here with outs waning. His team's got to get 2 more here. Hasegawa is the second pitcher and misses high. Has Czechia left a different kind of impression on you over the last 2 games versus the slower start this team had?
Yeah, I've seen them from their game 1, night 1, into now. And it just kind of feels like they've gotten comfortable. They're playing as their true selves now. Their bats have come alive. Their pitching has kind of been the constant throughout. And the bats was what they were waiting for to kind of wake up. And it definitely feels like that now. It just takes teams sometimes longer to adjust.
Matamoto at second. And there are 2 away. And this will again be Dostova. Came in to replace Vimrova, walked and scored in the 5th. Favorite school subject is biology. She wants to be a physio, which I think maybe is my favorite international linguistic difference. In America, physical therapist. You go to any other country, they'll say, I want to be a physio.
It sounds a little bit better as physio.
Fouled away.
You learn so much in these player forms that we go through to learn about all of these teams and the players. You can kind of see the difference between what I've studied and you. You're all about the Gatorade, the food.
Hey, can we talk about the Gatorade flavors that they've got to have in Brazil, by the way? What was the one that there was?
You thought fruit punch was
That's true.
brand new random flavor. That's probably the most classic, so.
Oh, fierce green apple.
Fierce green apple. I don't think I've seen fierce green apple here in the United States.
And then Tavaraya was strawberry passion fruit.
Passion fruit.
Outside corner, strike 3. Inning over. And for Czechia, it might be their last trip to the plate, because as we go to the 7th, Brazil needs 7 to stay alive.
We go to the top of the 7th inning, Latin American.
Czechia's offense all started with the outburst in the 3rd. Eliška Kotezova, first hit of the tournament, gave Czechia the lead and the dance moves. And then the power came to play.
And then in the 4th, Fridova, that ball down the line, got past the right fielder, able to plate another. In the 5th, keep it going, but this one, the big knock by number 13. Shabova, the leadoff. Czechia's bats kind of came alive last night. They've continued throughout today. You've kind of seen a shift since their opening game to now, scoring more runs, and I think this is perfect timing for them going into the rest of elimination.
Got a new catcher. Slavikova had been run for twice. So Slanska comes in. Started the first game of yesterday's doubleheader. Fouled away. Heart of the order here for Brazil. Nagasawa, Takahama, Hasegawa. The latter two, statistically, two of the better hitters in this tournament. Riley, do you grow a more discerning eye? You need 7 runs, you have 3 outs. Does your aggressiveness change knowing that your margin for error is so much slimmer?
Yeah, I'm definitely an aggressive hitter, but in this situation, I think you have to be a little bit pickier. You can't really swing at borderlines and get yourself out. Make the pitcher come to you.
Chopper toward third. Friedlova gets the out. It was a nice slide. 1 down.
Now here's the first baseman.
You know, you've seen the diversity of Sheshkva in the circle, because yesterday was all about the strikeout. 12 of them has come in relief here and has not struck a batter out. Really pitching to contact nicely over the last 2 innings.
Yeah, being versatile as a pitcher, you're not always going to have your A game, your A stuff. You're not always going to have record-breaking strikeout numbers. or high strikeout numbers in games. So it's just as important that you can spot a ball, maybe even with a team like Brazil who puts the ball in play a little bit more. A lot of lefties.
Czechia assaults this away, and chalk prevails. It will see Delaware in the semifinals tomorrow. Could still see Hawaii if there's an upset. Delaware has not seen Nela Sveshtkova in this tournament. That's kind of the ace in the back pocket of the team that would inevitably be the underdog against the host team. And I would think Nela probably has a really nice, long relaxation Friday night strategy to get herself rested and recovered.
Maybe some ice cream from the ice cream truck to start it off.
Ice bath, ice cream.
Ice cream can serve as an ice bath, I'd like to argue. Not a big fan of ice baths. They work, but they're just uncomfortable. So I would argue
the inside out ice bath.
Exactly.
Takahama has a couple of strikeouts today, did walk. It's the first time she has faced Sveshtkova in this game. Just hacking to stay alive.
And that was one of those kind of defensive swings. Knowing that you weren't going to lay off that pitch and just to foul it off, keep yourself alive, keep your team alive in their season.
The Brazilian bench is still in it as much as it ever was. Held up on the off speed, fouls it away.
And that's tough to do. One of the first times Sveshtkova has brought out that changeup, and so you're one of the first batters to see it, being able to spoil it after you've seen hard and up.
Again, here's the 1-2 to Takahama. Hard on the ground, nice snare! Ringlerova flashing the leather. And in a tournament where we've seen sometimes defense cost teams, Czechia's defense has helped it big time today.
Pitching, defense, and clutch hitting, in that order is how you is how you win championships. Ringlerova at first, keeping that ball in the infield, saving her team from a potential triple down the line. That was a really good play. Heads up on her, on the balls of her feet, on her toes, ready for a ball to be hit to her.
And Eduardo Hasegawa is her team's last hope. 2 hits and a walk today. Popped it up. And Czechia will play in the semifinals. Almost a feeling of relief, delayed exuberance, but more exasperation.
This was a full team win by Czechia. We've said it a lot throughout the game. Their bats woke up yesterday. That continued on today. They're looking like one of the best teams in this tournament, led by their pitchers in the circle. Halamkova started off Czechia in the circle, and then Sveshtkova was able to close it out. Combination of the drop and the rise, and then the clutch hitting, the cherry on top. But Brazil, what a run in this tournament for them. I know their season ends today, but just have been very impressive as well.
Their first time making it here to Delaware in the Senior League World Series. And they advance to the elimination round where they fall at the hands of the Czechs. Philippines run rule their way into a meeting with either Michigan or Pennsylvania. We will find out who next. The defending champions from Grand Blanc, they have played just like it all week, so stick around. It'll be Michigan and Pennsylvania. Our third quarterfinal from the Senior League World Series. 50 years of Senior League World Series softball. For Riley West and the rest of our crew, my name's Joel Godet. So long from Delmarva, the slower lower of Delaware. Senior League softball continues next.